You are listening to Big Trouble in Little Podcast. And here are your hosts, Joe Doves and Andy. Well, Internet peeps, and welcome to another edition of Big Trouble in Little Podcast. I am Joe Doves.
I'm Andy.
And this is where we come here every bi-weekly and talk about movies that we watch on any streaming platform or any movies that we say for you to go watch and come back here and we talk about it. But before we get into the movie of the week, Andy, what the hell have you been watching? Looks like you got a long-ass list.
Yeah, I watched a bunch of stuff. I went to the actual movie theater and saw Gundam Narrative in its one night, one showing engagement, which was kind of cool. The movie's really good. It's not as good as Gundam Unicorn for anyone who ever listens to this Gundam fan, but it's still really good. It's animated great. Most of the main characters I never got around to caring about. That might be because it was just a 2-hour movie and they try to cram in kind of a lot of stuff. The animation's great. The story's interesting. The music was surprisingly good for Gundam. Like, it was kind of like one of the best Gundam soundtracks I've heard. But I also watched the Red Letter Media guys put out a review for the Top Secret. I'd never seen it, so I rented it on YouTube and watched it. It was hilarious. It's Val Kilmer, and it's like a spy movie, sort of. It's made by the people who did Airplane. That's all you need to know.
Gotcha.
Watch Dead Man. That's a neo-western starring Johnny Depp, directed by Jim Jarmusch. Zatoichi the Fugitive, that's the 4th Zatoichi movie, I think. He's the blind samurai. It's like the longest running film series besides James Bond in the world or something.
Mm-hmm.
All You Fear Eats the Soul. It's a German movie, kind of about racism. It's extremely good. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang and The Nice Guys. I watched those the same night. They're both... they're not neo-noirs, are they? Maybe they are. I don't know. There's something like that, but they're from the same director. They're both great. The Nice Guys, I think, was a little better. Watch Jackie Brown just because...
It's a good movie.
Jackie Brown, the movie kicks ass. I watched Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure just because I hadn't seen it in like 10 years. It's still hilarious. I watched UHF because I hadn't seen it in like 10 years. It's still hilarious. Have you ever seen UHF?
No.
It's the Weird Al movie from the 80s. It's hilarious.
I heard about it. I need to check it out.
And then I'm signed up to be a charter member on the new Criterion Channel thing, and that gets you early access to Movie of the Week. The service doesn't launch until April, but they're kind of like stress testing it with a new movie each week, and this week was To Sleep with Anger.
Mm-hmm.
So I watched it. It was pretty good. It's neat. It's Danny Glover is in it, and he's like the bad guy. It's strange to see him play that role, but man, he's eerily good at it.
The only time I saw Danny Glover as a bad guy was in Saw, I guess, kinda.
Oh, I've never seen Saw.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have a little Saw watch along or something. I don't know. Bill and Ted, are they still doing the sequel that apparently is supposed to be coming out?
I guess they got like the original actors involved, and if they did it like in a weird self-aware way, that would be kind of fun. I think. Like if it was, you can't do the same kind of plot, but it should be the two characters kind of looking back on that because they're supposed to like create this weird utopia, maybe do something weird with that. That'd be kind of.
Mm-hmm. It would just be funny if like Keanu Reeves is playing Keanu Reeves and runs into Bill and Ted somehow because they traveled through time. I don't know. Something weird like that. Me, on the other hand, I've watched nothing unless you want to count Joe Rogan podcasts for the past 2 days. And I know we haven't been here in like 3 weeks. I just been playing too much video games. I've been playing Pokemon and Resident Evils and all that stuff. You know, it sucks to be an adult because you don't have a lot of time. But that's just me making excuses. The Joe Rogan podcast, I watched the one with Alex Jones. That was funny as hell. It was like a 6 hour Alex Jones just going off. Just talking about interdimensional demons and uh, something about aliens. He just went like a million miles per hour. And then the other one I watched yesterday was Jack Dorsey, who's the CEO of Twitter, and he brought his like person that looks at all the reported tweets and kind of makes the decisions on when to ban people. And Tim Pool was there. Tim Pool is more of like a center left.
That's the first name you said that I actually.
Oh, Tim Pool.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a journalist. He's a little on the left side, but he's in the middle. And he was just talking to Jack Dorsey and the other lady. Like, why is this person banned? Like, conservatives getting more banned than liberals, because you have one person who's making a joke, and then you have another person that's going, you need to kill all the MAGA kids and stuff, and they're still on the site while a conservative is banned. Mm-hmm. So, like, it was real interesting. They did come to, like, a middle ground, which was pretty surprising. The only thing is, I wonder if that's going to go through. Like, will Twitter take up on what, Joe Rogan and Tim Pool suggested? Like, they came up with some good things. Like, if people are, offended by a tweet, or, somebody's going on a tirade where they're just cursing and doing, like, a bunch of negative comments, like, will there be, like, a timeout period? Be like, hey, I see you're typing a lot of curse words. Do you want to do that? And then you have to, like, triple click on the submit tweet thing before it goes out.
I've never tried anything like that. It sounds funny.
And apparently there's a rating system. So if you go in your settings, you could hit the not safe for work feature on Twitter, and it takes out all the offensive tweets.
So how does it? It's just the most entertaining thing about stuff like that is, how does it determine what's offensive and to what level? How does it detect it?
Keywords. I'm guessing the AI scans the picture, and if they see like nothing on a person, like it's naked or like any pornographic stuff, they just take it down. Everything's AI based and stuff. So, and Jack Dorsey, like, I still have a hatred of banning people because of freedom of speech, but this is not a political podcast. But he seemed more transparent than the Facebook CEO, Zuckerberg. So Jack Dorsey seemed a little down to earth. I explained it to one of my friends. I said he kind of looks like he just came back from a John Mellencamp concert. That's how he looked on the podcast. But yeah, that's what I've been watching. I
watched better stuff than you, at least to me.
Yeah. If you've seen the Google Doc, I said I will be changing this, so I'm gonna force myself to watch stuff because I need to get back to watching stuff. That movies and TV shows are my passion more than games, in my opinion. All right, let's move on to movie of the week. So I chose the movie Polar on Netflix, and you're probably gonna hear a broken vacuum going off. It's like buzzing.
What?
Yeah, there's like buzzing going on. The vacuum is broken in the house. I guess somebody's trying to fix it. But anyway, Polar, starring Mads Mikkelsen. Kind of a quick synopsis. I like the first scene where Johnny Knoxville is there. Mm-hmm. And he's like, oh, I enjoy my retirement. Retirement's awesome. While this like hot chick is in the pool and stuff, kind of seducing him, and then obviously having sex with him almost. and a group of hitmen just kill him. And the synopsis is you have this like company of hitmen, and when they turn 50 years old, they retire. And the boss, instead of just paying a pension to these people who retire, kill them because in the contract it says when you die somehow uh, during your retirement, the company gets all the money. And
later they reveal that it's as long as you haven't named a next of kin, and then he jokes, "Who in our profession has a next of kin?" It feels like I don't know. I could have been avoidable. Just name a next of kin. Just any old a fake account. Something.
yep.
I guess why would they expect their company double cross them?
Well, look at the company owner. uh I want to get this out of the way. I didn't like the villain. I thought he was overhyped. I'd rather have Vivian possibly as the owner.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah, he's like not threatening at all. He just kind of sucks and looks stupid.
yeah, and his
In a serious movie like that, you need to have a villain that has some gravitas. Like I need to like feel like they can do something terrible, and he felt more like um, comedic relief.
well, he looked like a stooge.
Mhm.
Like Vivian felt more powerful and more boss like, and she was more of like a secretary to him, like, I guess, where it's like, hey, you need to get on this, and she's like, fuck you, I'm gonna do what I want, but then she does it anyway. um I just didn't like him. He was they forced the whole gross factor with the lotion, and having his people put lotion all over his body, and he was bald. I'm not saying bald is bad, but like he had like a wig and everything. His accent was like terrible. I found out he's British, by the way. So I don't know, maybe it was forced to be bad with the accent. I don't know. Um to say this was a serious film, I wouldn't say that. There was a lot of funny scenes and a lot of fun in general in this, but there is a lot of killing. The gore was just amazing. And when I mean amazing, it's like Tarantino kind of blood. Would you agree with that?
Unfortunately, no. I not really. There was the only gore was like the after effect blood sprays and stuff like that, except for the torture scene, which was needlessly long. It didn't really do anything for the character. It didn't really up any of the stakes.
Mm-hmm.
It could have been like, oh, they capture it.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of the blood sprays, like when he's shooting people in the head stuff, it's added in post. I'm like 99% sure.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the gore was kind of animated in a way. Um, I guess the torture scene was not animated. It was weird. There was a lot of different tones in this film, from funny to just like, oh, that's gross, and oh, this is a serious moment with Mad Mikkelsen and his neighbor and all that. Um, what can I talk about? What do you think of Mad Mikkelsen, his character, the Black Kaiser?
He's great. For some reason, even in bad movies, he still shines as like, oh, he's a good part of this.
Mm-hmm.
Something about him, I just like him. He he doesn't break out of this. What am I trying to say? He gets typecast a little bit. Like he always plays kind of the same character, but he's really good at playing that kind of. I
Mm-hmm.
think it has something to do with his look as well. But yeah, he's a good actor in that way. Pulls it off. I like him.
Yeah, and if anybody wants to know his character, he's about to retire at 50, and they kind of show like him talking to, I guess, his accountant, where he has four different properties. He sends $200,000 to a charity, and I'm doing quotation marks, charity, and he adds up all the total of what his pension is going to be, and it rounds out to $8 million. So, eh, and his character, you kind of see that all his life he's been killing, so he has no hobbies. So, so he's in the convenience store. He overhears two girls talking about like a movie, and then he sees like a movie rental box. So he goes rent that movie after there, and then he buys a dog because he's like, uh, maybe I need a dog in my life since he's retiring. And I hated that scene, by the way, where he's having a nightmare and he just shoots the dog.
Yeah, I didn't like it either.
I was like, were they trying to go for a funny factor in that?
Yeah,
Because
because it wasn't really funny.
yeah, and it just because Mads Mikkelsen he goes shit, and then he buys a goldfish because I guess maybe shooting a goldfish would be less money, I guess. Um, and he's just watching movies. He's reading books about fish, reading books about dogs, and then while he's burying the dog, he sees that he has a neighbor. Can I get this? I want to get this right off the bat. Did you predict what was going to happen when you first saw the neighbor?
No, well, I mean, no, not the end of the movie
No. All right. Well, we'll get to the end of the movie soon. Um, what do you think of the action scenes and the very few action scenes where Mads
now. They're
Mik?
all really well choreographed. It was clear that that's where a lot of the movie went in. I like the scene where he's escaping and he's in the hallway and
Mm,
fights all those guys. That scene's really good. It's really well put together. Most of the other action scenes are like, all right, like when they come to kill him. I like that scene. It's not really an action scene. It's more like he outsmarts them in a couple novel ways. So it's exciting, but not in the same way that like a fight scene is. I can't even remember the other action scenes besides that one.
Yeah, I believe that's it. You had the where he went to the hotel and killed the Latino hitman,
Mhm.
and
In
then
Belarus.
you had when the A team hitmen trying to kill him at his cabin. Did you feel like those people died too quickly?
Somewhat. It was an awful lot of build up for like nothing.
Mm-hmm.
They're just kind of barely in the movie. Well, I mean, no, they're in the movie a lot, but then like I don't know, he just shoots the one chick through a refrigerator. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I thought that was gonna be a lot longer too.
Yeah, I thought they would be pretty much at the end and possibly be the end fight because when I saw the boss, uh, I was like, is he gonna be the final fight? Because that's kind of weird because he doesn't look like a fighter. But then I was like, maybe Vivian is gonna fight um, Duncan, and even that was underwhelming too, where he just they all come with the soldiers and Vivian, and then he just takes out his Nintendo Power Glove and he shoots them all, and I was like, so they're really all he had to face was a bunch of stooges soldiers and stuff at the end, and I felt that was underwhelming at the point. But then kind of segueing to the end, you see flashbacks in Duncan's nightmares that he has where he's in this street with a black taxi or black limo and stuff, and he shoots it, and then he opens up the door and he sees, you know, kids dead pretty much. Besides, you don't reveal it pretty much until the end, but there was one left alive, and that one person was the neighbor that he's living next to. This I have to bring up. Was she following him, or did he follow her, or did it just happen to be that they both lived in the same area?
Well, she came there because the bank that put money into her fund was there, right?
Yes, yeah, that's how they tracked the Duncan down. So that makes
Yeah.
more sense. Okay, I guess I missed that part because I was confused. I was like, it can't be coincidence. That would be weird. And it didn't look like he knew himself that it was her.
Yeah.
Did you find that a little weird too that he didn't recognize her? Because he did stare at her for a pretty long time.
Well, I didn't recognize her. Like when they show the flashback, it looks like a completely different person to me. So I guess I'll let it slide. Plus, he's probably like looked at tons of people down the sights of a pistol anyway. So
True.
in his line of work, of course, that one had more effect on him than the others because he sees it all memories. But still, I kind of let him have it. I guess it's probably something he doesn't want to remember.
Mm-hmm. And pretty much he got like bad information. That's why like a bunch of kids died. Like she said her brother died, and I guess was it her sister too, brother and sister.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he shot up a whole car full of kids, and that would pretty much give you nightmares, and that's what he was getting. And I kind of predicted it a little bit because they kept on showing that scene, and they showed the girl where every time like a loud noise would happen, she'd jump and she would get scared. And did you like the school scene, by the way?
Yeah, it was funny. Like that was the funniest scene in the movie, but that's almost like the rest of it doesn't match the tone of the rest of the movie. But I enjoyed the scene, so whatever. It seems almost like comedically detached, though, that he would think that that's reasonable. But it's still funny. It's funny. It's worth it.
Mm-hmm. And when did you think that she knew it was him? Because when she started kind of like staring at him, um, also at the school scene, like she's on the swing and everything, and she's like all sad. And I kept on going, why is she sad on that swing while he's in the school? I just felt it was weird because I didn't kind of fully know that it was her that was in the limo, but I was like, something's off with her, and I guess we'll eventually figure it out, and that's what happened.
Yeah, they tease pretty heavily that she has something tragic in her past, and then she makes up that story, but it doesn't.
Oh, about the Santa.
Yeah, like it still kind of works out that you're like, no, there's something else going on.
Mm-hmm.
But the movie lets you have that. You're supposed to wonder, and then just in time for you to forget about it, act after she's been kidnapped, and then it comes back.
She she was in the mansion, right? Correct.
Yeah, as far as I know, that's my understanding.
How they shot that was weird too, because when Duncan goes to meet this guy named Porter, which I have no, I guess he's just an old guy that's connected to the company.
I suppose like he's someone who retired or something. They don't set it up at all. Really, they were like, "Fuck, we need to write a scene where they actually capture him." I guess so. They made up that scene.
And that was Richard Dreyfuss, by the way.
Yeah. They probably had him involved. Like, oh, we need a cool.
Yeah, it was just like I felt like that didn't need to be there. I think anything else would have been okay because we met the other characters. Because when you bring this guy here, it's just like, who is he? And when he turns on him, I'm like, oh, just another guy part of the company who's backstabbing him, and I just didn't care for him anymore.
Yeah.
But how they shot that, he was like, you need to go to the mansion, and he goes to the mansion. He obviously gets tortured like Big Boss in Metal Gear Solid 3, which is funny because his eye gets fucked up and he has to wear an eye patch and he kind of looks
Yeah.
like Big Boss.
Very reminiscent of Metal Gear Solid 3.
Mm-hmm. And you have that infamous hallway scene where he just takes out everybody, and then it cuts to this warehouse of a black chick that you don't know about, but somehow Duncan
Yeah,
knows.
another character they don't set up at all, and then there's a scene with her. Well, two scenes, I guess, technically, and then that's just it. It's over. Like the third act does that more than once. It kind of pissed me off because I was like, "What the fuck is this movie doing?"
Mm-hmm.
It's. I think it's the source material. There were like some characters they wanted to fit in because I didn't. I had to look it up because I was curious because it said in the source association with Dark Horse Entertainment. So I thought, oh, this is based on a comic book. It's based on a web comic book.
Really?
Yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting. I guess a pretty serious one. And either it's owned by Dark Horse or Dark Horse probably like published the trades or something.
Yeah. What was weird about her is the end of that scene where she was like, "I didn't know if you were coming for the guns or me," and I'm like, "Why would he come for you?"
Yeah, we don't know who this character is. Yes.
Is there a love interest? Did they? And they didn't really even show it. Like even when she woke up, like she took care of him, but like you knew that she was kind of a friend. There's probably deleted scenes where there was more of her or something.
Maybe. I just assumed they were characters from the comic and the people who were making it wanted to be true to the source material, which is an admirable cause, but you still have to obey movie rules in that I need to know what the hell.
Mm-hmm. And then from there, that's when they had the warehouse fight, which was underwhelming. And then he came to back to the mansion to kill Blut. Blut is the owner of the company. Kind of track back a little bit. Blut, when he's talking to, which I think is in his investors that kind of look like vampires.
Yeah, what the that was weird too. Like I felt like the movie was trying to there.
I
Like I laughed out loud because of how like I'm in middle school and I just saw The Matrix for the first time. That scene was
pretty much, and
like, I got my dad's sword. It's a Roman sword. The hilt's made of bones.
but even the vampire investors were like, well, how are you gonna get a profit? He's like, well, when these hitmen that are retired, they die, and we get their money.
Yeah, I like that these people that he's doing business with, he's saying, "Oh, I'm going back on the contracts I have with my employees and murdering them." That's something you want to tell someone that you're trying to build a business contract with. But whatever, they're like movie villains or whatever, so they're stupid.
Well, they kind of go, okay, and then end scene. So
And then never come back.
yeah, and then Duncan going back to the end again. Duncan kills Blut with a axe and throws his head out of the window. And I think the best part is the secretary. I was like, "Do you have an appointment with Mr. Blood?" And then they just walk past her, and she's like, "I'll make you tea or coffee." And then when he dies, she's like, "Oh dear," and I'm like, "That was pretty funny. Good for her." um, I don't know what else to say. My thing with the movie is some parts were funny, some parts were good to see, but overall, I think the editing and the writing was just weird.
Yeah,
And
one of my biggest complaints was like the visual tone because some scenes are like obnoxiously colorful. They look like they're trying to like out Guy Ritchie some of the like the very first scene with Johnny Knoxville and some other random scenes. Usually, whenever that team of assassins is together, they're like the color saturation is weird and everything's bright and obnoxious. And then all the scenes with Mickelson
dark.
are dark and like toned way down and not. I mean, it's not like they're black and white, but you can almost see them in black and white, which I actually really dig. But you got to choose one. Both of them work, but you need to choose one and then have the tone of the movie match it. I think that darker tone would have worked better. You know, I'm always saying like, oh, I'm kind of sick of that too. I'm not middle school, but it kind of worked with Mickelson's character and some of the plot and stuff like that. But then every once in a while there'd be those weird colorful scenes and it would like drag me out of the movie.
Mm-hmm. I just got tired throughout the movie because they were putting so much in your face, be like, this is here, this character, and you're just like,
Oh God!
Doggy.
Sorry, I think my mail just got delivered. She's broke. Hey! Come here! Come here! Hey.
That's why dogs don't like mailmen.
Yeah, the cliche is true. Thanks a lot, dog. You're all over this recording now. You sit. Good girl.
Yeah.
Sit.
But the pacing in this film just.
Come here. You're going outside. Come on.
Doggy dog.
You're banished.
Banishment. But to say it again, like the pacing was just tiring for me, and I think I'm gonna have to say I don't recommend it, because I guess only if you want to watch it and just turn off your brain, you'll have a fun time. But me, when I watch movies, my brain is always on, and I'm just like, why is this happening? So I go with I don't recommend. What about you?
No, I don't really recommend it. There's too many moments where several times in this movie someone gets shot. I'm like, are you not dead? What's going on here? Like, people get shot in the chest with a sniper rifle, and they're like, oh, I'm fine. It's like, dude, get a larger caliber. You just kill them outright. These other people would be unnecessary. But and also, why do they need the woman to go in there? Just get the guy with the sniper. Just figure out where he lives, and then she can leave or do whatever, and then just have the guy with the sniper rifle just shoot him when he's having breakfast the next morning. Why does it have to be so fucking complicated?
Oh yeah, and kind of point this out here. Is it this early 2000s or something? Because like I felt like these scenes were forced of like sex and stuff. Just
Yeah, I thought they do that as well. They really force some of the sexuality into it.
I thought I was watching that Jason Statham movie, Cranked or something, because it had that.
It's not the best movie, and it's a shame because there's some good stuff in here. It also suffers from, like, it feels like the movie's about to end, and then it fucking doesn't, and there's like a whole nother act, and you're like, oh, I thought it was about to end, and so I could do something else, but it just keeps going.
Yeah, this movie was almost 2 hours, and that's an hour and 58 minutes. So yeah, technically 2 hours.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's a fine length for a movie, but they paced it poorly. Because, like, after he takes out the team, it feels like they just need to wrap it up. And then it's like, oh no, they kidnapped a girl. Oh, you've got to go rescue her. Oh, you got captured. Okay, there's a torture scene. Okay, he escapes. Okay, he goes and talks to the black chick for some reason. Okay, he gets guns. He ambushes them, and the chick in red is there. He kills them. Now he's going to the mansion. Okay, now he's going to go kill the guy. Okay, now he rescues the girl. Okay, now they're back at the cabin. Okay, now the big twist at the end. And it's like, oh my god, end.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a shame because some of the scenes past that point are actually pretty good, but I was still like, oh, I thought this movie was about shit.
Even the ending had another, like, oh my god, just fucking end it. Where the screen goes black and then you hear a gunshot, and then it comes back, and then she's like, well, can we go kill the person who ordered you to go kill my brother and sister?
I think the ending would have been better if she'd have shot it.
Mm-hmm. Because now it pretty much opens for like a Polar 2 with her and Mads Mikkelsen going after pretty much, I guess, the company.
I'm sure it like matches the actual comics better the way they did it, but like, if you imagine that didn't exist, if this is just a self-contained story, I think the better ending would have been if she'd shot it, because it would have made like the actual what little bit of a message in the story there is more poignant, I think. But no, forget it. No, we're gonna do this instead.
And it would have been funny, not funny. It would have been kind of, I guess, a bittersweet, because the whole time the company's trying to kill him so that he can get his money, but in the end, the person that he kind of liked was the person to kill him. And I think that would have had a better payoff than them just going, let's be a team and go after the company. And I was just like, and they're probably going to make another sequel. to kind of.
I don't know. From what I understand, this movie didn't exactly fantastic. And usually, a movie going straight to Netflix for distribution means people who made it didn't have a lot of faith in it. So I don't know if that.
I don't know. All right, so we both don't recommend it. Next week's movie, we're actually going to be starting a Planet of the Apes ranking segment where we watch all the Planet of the Apes movie and we kind of give our ranking on it. So we're going to start with the first one, which came out in 1968. So Planet of the Apes, if somehow you could rent it, I know it's like $3 on Amazon or something like that, or if you have it uh, on DVD or Blu-ray, good for you.
Spoiler alert, it's a great movie.
Yes. So watch Planet of the Apes and then come back here and then we'll talk about it. Moving on to news that matter to us. Finally, Sonic was revealed. He looks weird.
It looks awful. It looks fucking disgusting.
Why? What's with all these like live action shit that is happening now these days? Like you have to have a live action like Lion King movie, Aladdin, now Sonic. It's just like why?
Pikachu.
The what?
Pikachu.
Yeah, that too. It's like
I don't know if it makes money though, but if they do it well, then good for them. But I feel like they're going the wrong way with the Sonic thing. Why do you have to redesign the wheel? Just have Sonic like CG'd in and have actors talk to someone in a green suit or something. Have them talk to Jaleel White in a green suit or something like that. If you have to do it, which frankly you don't. Just I don't know.
Yeah.
Sega doesn't know how to Sonic anymore. I mean, Sonic Mania was brilliant. That's because a bunch of fans made
it. Yeah, fans of the series got outsourced to make the game, so.
But maybe it'll be good inexplicably. Maybe it'll be like super self-aware and like he looks terrible on purpose, and they hired some like really good writers or something. I doubt it. Maybe they hired someone who knows how to turn this into something entertaining. But whatever. It looks like trash, and I'm upset. But the Detective Pikachu trailer is hilarious, so at least I have something.
Yeah, Detective Pikachu looks okay. Like, I kind of would want to watch Detective Pikachu over the Sonic movie, but then again, I haven't seen any trailer yet for Sonic, so I kind of don't want to give my judgment yet. But the reveal of him looks stupid, just like the teases that they were giving.
Looks awful.
Yep. More sad news. Luke Perry died. He was Dylan in 90210. I used to watch that with my mom a lot before school, and after school because it was on after school too, like the new episodes. He's also in the what was that, Riverdale? He's a father in that.
Isn't that like now, right? Like now they need to kill the character or something.
Yeah, they gotta figure out what to do now. And he's also the father of the wrestler that is now in AEW, Jungle Boy. So his son is a wrestler. So my condolences to the Perry family. To come some positive news. Jordan Vogt-Roberts, the director for the Metal Gear project that they're doing. Who knows when it's coming out, but they're working on it, so I guess it will come out eventually. He got a DM on Twitter from somebody that said, "Hey, I have a Photoshop of Oscar Isaac Newton. Is it Isaac or just Oscar Isaac?
Oscar Isaac, yes.
Yeah, Isaac Newton." And Jordan is like, yeah, shoot, show me. And in the tweet, he got a picture of a Photoshop of Oscar Isaac looking like Snake. It is Photoshop, so if you go look it up on Google, it looks pretty cool. And Jordan was impressed in it, and he said, Oscar Isaac, this is in your court now. pretty much throwing his hat in there that he would want Oscar Isaac as Solid Snake. So what do you think about that?
I think it'll work really well. I like Oscar Isaac as an actor a lot. Like he's great, and apparently he's on board with it too. There's an interview that IGN links to where he says he'd be down to play Snake. He wants to throw his hat in for that, or he says something. So he's down. The director's down. Someone needs to make it happen because that would be great. He's the best, and I have low expectations for Hollywood handling Metal Gear, but it would be really great if they just did it right.
Well, he did it great with King Kong, right? That King Kong movie. Didn't Jordan Roberts do that one?
Well, I don't know. I'm not sure.
Let me look that up.
If so, then he did do a good job. Because Skull Island.
Skull Island. Click on it. Do. Yep, that he's the director of that. So interesting. And he also did Planet of the Apes. It looks like War of the Planet of the Apes.
Oh, one of them.
He worked on it at least. That was Matt Reeves who directed it. Oh. Yeah, Oscar Isaac is a good actor. I liked him in that. I like him in Star Wars, obviously, and that one robot movie that I'm drawing up. Yeah, he was really good in that.
He's in Annihilation a bit too. He's good in that as well. Same director.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the Photoshop looks good, and I think he could do Snake's voice. You don't need David Hayter's voice to play Snake. But if he could emulate it somehow, that'd be pretty cool. Who would you want as Colonel, by the way?
No, I don't. There's this thing Hollywood's doing now where they have a lot of actors that are like in the '80s they were big, and now they're like older, and they bring them back for roles like that. Someone like that, like a Kurt Russell, or something along those lines would be.
What about a Gene Hackman?
Yeah, something like that. Yes.
That'd be pretty cool.
He was more big in the '70s, I guess, but still something.
Get Gene Hackman as Colonel Jordan, and I'll be happy. Yeah, but that's pretty much the news. Andy, you working on any projects you want to talk about?
Nah, not really.
Yeah, I'm working on the project with Zach on the video game one, which is the Nemesis project. We're going to be talking about Resident Evil 2 Remake in a week, I think. So, yeah, keep an eye out for that. Soon, I'm working on the Resident Evil 2 1998 edit at the moment, and that will be coming out during this week, hopefully. Nerdreview.com is where we have all nerdy stuff in there with gaming, comics, movies, and wrestling. So if you want to go there or read or watch some watch videos or listen to podcasts and stuff, make sure to go to nerdreview.com. Our podcast is on Podbean, which is novnetwork.podbean.com. We have 150 followers there, and I hope you 150 followers are listening because we want your feedback. So make sure you comment on Podbean or follow the link that I have on Podbean where it goes to our Discord, and we could chat it up, give us feedback if we're good or not, things you want us to talk about or comment about, and we'll see if it fits during our show outline and all that stuff. I'm trying to think what else to talk about. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Next week we have Escape from Side Quest, so keep an eye out on that. And then obviously next week is the Nemesis project. But until next time, everybody, you have a good day. Later.
Thanks for listening.